This is Kathy Biehl of EmpowermentUnlimited.net with Astro Insight for the week of August 22nd, 2022. Did you take it easy the week of the 15th? Have some downtime? Maybe sleep a little more than normal? It was definitely an easier week, and if you didn't take advantage of resting up and you're listening to this before the 22nd, I recommend stocking up on some power naps because the week of the 22nd is hopping. The first thing that happens is that Uranus, the cosmic agent of unexpected change, the lobber of lightning bolts, Molotov cocktails, advocate of alternate viewpoints, great awakener, there are lots of names that apply to him. Uranus begins his annual retrograde on the 24th. And the reason this one is particularly noteworthy is he stations retrograde at the degree that he's been on since the beginning of July, the degree at which he was part of a triple conjunction with Mars and the North Node on August 1st, and he will have yet another clash with Saturn, planet of adulting and structure, at the beginning of October and will not move off this degree until well into that month. Which means the agent of change has changed directions and is boring down deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into areas of life that have already been pretty heavily shaken up. You might look at what was going on in your life at the beginning of August when the planet of push and the North Node of this way to the future met with this guy. You might look at the beginning of August to see what got rattled, shaken up, opened up for you around August 1st, because that's going to get a second look, more rattling, more shaking up, ultimately leading to some stress testing by about October 4th. This will, of course, have lots and lots of ramifications for the world, for every nation, for us all collectively. Let me draw your attention to long simmering legislation that was passed in the U.S. the week before Uranus's retrograde that involves lots of financial restructuring, Uranus and Taurus, and active measures about the environment and the climate, Uranus and Taurus, and instituting changes, Uranus, in the costs, Taurus, of prescription drugs for Medicare, and instituting a minimum corporate tax, more financial changes reflecting Uranus in Taurus. Hearkening back to some of the innovations of the New Deal in the 1930s when, oh, looky here, Uranus was last in Taurus. I mentioned this as an example of some of the shaking up, some of the unlocking, some of the unexpected change being arguably beneficial for people. Our information flow very quickly moves into a different mode, moves out of the detail orientation of Virgo as Mercury moves into the sign of Libra on the 25th. Mercury does well in Libra. It encourages lots of communication with an emphasis on how the words are actually presented. Libra loves artfully phrased messages. This is also really good for collaboration, for cooperation, for negotiation, for entering into agreements, for creating especially works of visual or verbal art, and for a mindset that takes into account the existence of other people on this planet. This is not to say that a self-oriented streak isn't still in the air. Venus remains in Leo. This is strut your stuff, be generous, be gregarious, seek out attention. And if you look at it one way, this placement also kind of presupposes the existence of other people because Venus in Leo needs an audience. She's got a meeting with Uranus this week. That guy that's just now stationing retrograde, very, very still on the degree of 18 degrees Taurus. Venus in Leo squares Uranus this week, which unlocks desires, breaks open chains, breaks apart some relationships, maybe. There's a freeing aspect to it, a suddenness, plot twists, surprises, and some of the energy that is freed up propels us to action. Because on the heels of this, the sun is in an action-demanding square with Mars, planet of push. Since they are both in signs that have an intellectual streak, the sun in Virgo, Mars in Gemini, our response very likely is to speak up, to speak out. If we've lost something that we thought had value to us, we now go after something different. We may speak up more boldly, more assertively, stir the air up more in response to whatever the unlocking is that happens to our hearts, to our relationships when Uranus and Venus have their little slam on the 26th. These shakeups, liberations, demands for action, demands for speaking out, color the Virgo new moon, which is also on the 27th, and gets a push from Mars as well, meaning that there will be a very strong back to work, back to school, clean it up, reorganize, what can I do to make things better, streak in everything that you launch under this new moon. It is an excellent time for getting your thinking clear and making out, yes, I'm going to say it, to-do lists, but being very discerning about what you're going to put on that list. As the weekend rolls out, we're thinking quite a bit about grounding. Whatever broke open in us, broke loose, broke apart around the 26th, has us contemplating stability. We may not feel that it is within reach, stabilizing commitment, structure, some aspect of our hearts, our relationships, our desires. Some aspect is still kind of shaken up, not quite knowing where to land. Pushing for firmness, pushing for stability, pushing for answers, pushing for commitment. Probably not gonna get satisfaction at this time. Go back to your to-do list and get cracking. Homing thought of the week: let go and get going. Song of the week: Team by Lord. And the image of the week is scrubbing the tub while you're talking on the phone. You'll find more about this in my forecast for the Virgo new moon, which will be up at my site by the beginning of the week. My site, again, is empowermentunlimited.net, where you can sign up for my mailing list and book a session with me. I'm Kathy Biehl, a professional astrologer with more than 30 years' experience. I host the show Celestial Compass on Om Times Radio on the first and third Monday of every month at 5 p.m. Eastern. I also host lively conversation on Facebook at Empowerment Unlimited and the group The Astro Insight Lounge. I have lots of bonus content at patreon.com/Kathy Biehl, and I'm really grateful to the people who support my work there. I'm on Instagram at @KABiehl and on YouTube at the Professional Aquarian channel. Talk to you next week.